25 cents, and that was, for a long time, that was,
Milky Way chocolate bars were 5 cents a piece.
Yeah.
In 1952, they made a 4-ounce Baby Ruth. A 4-ounce Baby Ruth bar in 1952 was 10 cents, and it was actually more than I wanted.
you want to change that.
Well, but 4 ounces of Babe Ruth chocolate bar was plenty. And a pretty good deal at 10 cents. Now they're $1.25 or more now for about 3 ounces. I think it's honest to say that we were some of the most fortunate students and kids that ever grew up in this town. We both come from a family that was not fighting. We had plenty to eat. We had discipline. But we didn't have drunks around. No drunks around our place and no drunks around their place.
Well,
Not by choice. In our case, it was a fact. In Jimmy's case, he seems to question it, so I don't know that.
you mentioned something about economics. One thing that the war brought to farming communities like ours was prosperity. Milk prices were high, beef, pork, eggs, any produce, maple syrup, all of that, and especially forest products. Not logs as much as this pulp was peaked then. It took 25 years for it to get back to the same prices they were on the war level. So there was a brief period of prosperity.
We're talking about prices. In World War I, my father-in-law was from Montgomery, Charles Dusso. When he was a kid during World War I, his folks bought a dozen eggs. Eggs were $1 a dozen in 1917, and 2 of those eggs had been boiled. Now you can understand how that may have happened.
They had the hot hands.
Eggs were so priceful, or so valuable, that the kids had cooked a couple eggs, but they put them back in the box. $1 a dozen in 1917 or 18 was quite a lot more than they were when Jim and I remember. And also during World War I, Frank Murray had a bull that weighed a ton, 2,000 pounds, and nobody wanted it. All he could get offered for that bull was 1 cent a pound. Well, he said, I guess we ain't going to take that, we'll butcher it, and they did, they ate it. But during World War I, which is rather unusual, that they couldn't get more than 1 cent a pound, but it was too big, the slaughterhouses didn't want it.
Probably scared of that.
Well, it may be. They couldn't handle it, that's why they didn't want
What would
it.
you transport it in?
Huh?
What would you transport it in?
I presume the bull walked to his death. They probably led it to slaughter.
Do you guys ever have any fun on the Branch River?
Did we have fun on the
Fishing,
Branch River?
canoeing?
Oh, yeah.
Branch River, fun in our Branch River. Pretty likely we had fun there.
You could even get a fish occasionally.
He could catch
We
it.
used to. We used to get a lot of brown trout out of the branch.
So we're on this little foreign subject of drugs, which we didn't do, but us boys used to make corncob pipes. So we had this nice swimming hole right behind our house, down over the bank, just out of sight from our parents, we thought. So my brother Jim and I and the Williams, the boys, were down there on the swimming hole with the corncob pipes, and our father comes over the top of the bank, probably watched us 15 minutes, and hollers, "Dinner, boys!" 4 pipes went in the river. Yes, we had a lot of fun on the branch, playing swimming holes. And this Bobby Williams and I were playing hockey. Didn't have any hockey sticks, but Mr. Williams was a dicker, so he had golf clubs. So I grabbed a nice big driver golf club for my hockey thing, and our pucks would saw off the end of a balsam tree about that size, and a perfect puck. So we're down there on the river skating around, and I took a wicked swing, came right up and laid Bobby right there. Of course, you know how your face bleeds? So I took it out in the house, and we're in the house, and Bobby's mother says, "My gosh, you're pretty near killing him." I said, "No, he's okay, he's just a little bloody," I said. But it didn't hurt him any. He got over it. The branch was a wonderful place. We swam in it, and fished in it. And Brother Jim could catch some big fish in it.
We were always building rafts, you know, we'd build rafts.
In the spring of the year, we'd have ice jams. You didn't hear this. So this Bobby Williams and I would go down on a big ice jam with our axes. We'd get on a big chunk of ice, we'd chop it loose. Down the river we'd go till we come to the next ice jam. Pretty fun. We thought we didn't tell our parents we were doing that though.
Well, I got to tell you a story about a boat. I made a boat out of rough lumber in probably 45. Dad said, "That ain't gonna work." He said it'll sink. Well, I said, "It'll be all right. I'm gonna pour a tire on the seams as the water started coming in." Well, the tire didn't stick to the boat. It was all over me, and the thing did sink. And I was completely plastered with tire. So I recommend you put the tire on the boat before you put it in the water.
We used to ride our bicycles in the stream a lot too.
That's
right.
Break up the monotony, you know, see how deep we dared, how deep
We had horses to ride. We had another thing. You talked about entertainment on the branch. Our father would let us do about anything we wanted to. We had these nice heifers. Heifers are pretty lively characters. Him and I would put a saddle on a heifer. You think a horse butts? You want to get on a heifer with a saddle on. We've done a little of that, ain't we, Jim? We've got a little bit of that going.
Jimmy forgot all about
My brother Jim and I saved our parents thousands of dollars. How did we do it? We kept them entertained. They never had to go anywhere.
Going to the movies at Morrisville was the highlight of, you know, we might go, maybe not more than once a month in the summertime, but, you know, that was, I mean, this was before we drove, you know, where we'd go, as he said, we'd get in the back of the truck and go, and, you know, strangely enough, we never thought about what the movie was going to be. Didn't make any difference.
We didn't care.
Didn't make any difference, you know.
What about Friday? Did you go in that direction for anything?
Not as much. Not as much. Well, one thing, my father did business at the Munson store, which is downtown Morrisville. Bought his grain and supplies and hardware, so he was more apt to go Morrisville.
And our business was all in Morrisville too. We hardly ever went to Hardwick.
Well, in the Union Bank, he banked at the Union Bank, so we went there. Also, I had two aunts that lived in Morrisville, and that we'd on occasion visit them.
In 48, Dad bought me a brand new J.C. Higgins blue and tire bicycle. And I rode that to school quite a lot. I had a speedometer on it, and right in front of where Willis Lowell used to live, I was going almost 30 miles an hour, and I flipped. I slid along on my elbows for quite a ways, and Willis stood there and watched it. He said, "Have you had all you want of that?" It kind of took the spunk out of me.
Did you have a little road rash?
Yeah, grabbed some of the hide off my elbows.
Little story about Craftsbury Academy education. Come time for junior prom, I didn't even have a girlfriend. Didn't know I needed one. Mother says, you're going to prom. Okay. So I'm going to take you to Mooresville, and Mooresville was a store called the Wrong End Store in Mooresville. Some of you can remember that, I know Ann. Wrong End Store in Mooresville. So take me down there, buy me a new pair of shoes. Yeah, I'm all set. Go to the barn, do my chores, come back, take my bath. I did take a bath that time to go to junior prom. Get my shoes out of the box, get one shoe out, get the other shoe out, both of them on the left foot. I put the wrong shoe in the wrong box. Here I go to junior prom with two left shoes.
Couldn't dance anyway.
So wait till you see, I had this guy here a couple years older. His his shoes about that much bigger than mine. So I filled the toes with toilet paper and I went to junior prom. I have no idea who I took.
And that's why they've always called us two left feet.
That's another piece of, of our social life in high school. Generally speaking, the principal would get after the boys that didn't have a steady girlfriend, or the kind of wall hangers, and
Do something.
say, now look, poor so and so, she's a junior, and she, you guys got to step up to the plate, and they would pretty much make sure that it was okay if some of the boys didn't have a day and didn't go, but he wanted or at least one of the principals, and Mr. Charles Johnson, he really would get after him to make sure every lady had the chance to go. Now, I know damn well you never went to the junior prom, did you?
I went to my own junior prom, but of course I didn't know anything about dancing. Wilma he said I wouldn't know any more about dancing than a hog would about making a wristwatch. I don't to this day. But I want to say something about Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson was probably one of the finest principals that Craftsbury Academy ever had. World War II veteran and a fair man. No one was any better in his opinion than the other people. A fantastic leader. The first assembly we had in the fall of 1950, he addressed the whole school. My first of the 7th grade. He said, "Your people hired me to run this school, and that's exactly what I'm going to do." And as far as I'm concerned, he did a remarkable job of it.
He certainly did. He wasn't a man you questioned, but as I came to realize as time went on in later years, he was an extremely intelligent man.
He was. But he was a fair man, too. Nobody was any better, in his opinion, than the other person. He was my sophomore social studies teacher. He said one day, asked me something about what a liberal education was. Well, I said, it's a knowing something about many subjects. There, he said, I persuaded Everitt. Now, if I can persuade Everitt, I can persuade anyone.
Another little story. Some of you here remember you and Anderson used to come and substitute teach up in the study hall. I'm a loser when it comes to school. So we're up in the study hall. Una would always walk around the room. Here she comes, and oh my gosh, she's coming around. Stops, of course, at my desk. Andy. Yes, Miss Anderson. Do you know who the governor is? I said, I do, but right now I can't remember. She said, that's okay. So that's okay. So she told me who the governor was. Was right in here and right out there. She goes around again. Yeah, here she comes again. Comes back again. She stops. She says, Andy. Yes, Una, Miss Anderson. Do you remember that question I asked you? I said, yes, Miss Anderson, I remember the question, but I don't remember the answer. She said, your parents are down on the branch working hard to pay taxes, send you to school, and you can't remember while I'm just walking around the room. And she was absolutely right. But I didn't care who the governor was.
You know, my freshman math teacher was Beverly Barkham Shepherd. And her mother died in December of '52. So she had spent 2 weeks trying to teach me square root. I didn't know any more of that when she left. I did when she came. So while she was gone out of school, Una Anderson came back. Una had an altogether different way of explaining square root to me. I could do it just as long as she was there. And when she left, it went with her. I don't know any more about it now than it in 1952. They never in my life ever needed that.
Since we're mentioning individual teachers, I think that a very fine teacher that I had early on in high school was Miss Dodd at the time. She's now Irene Strong, who lives right down there. Great teacher, wonderful person.
What did she teach?
And she was also a beautiful, extremely beautiful specimen.
But
fact, she was the boss, and she let you know immediately she was the boss. She never had any trouble with any student. Because there's no question in your mind what she was the boss.
She taught English. Yes.
She was from Sheldon.
Yep.
Sheldon,
It's on,
Enosburg.
the other side of Enosburg Falls on Route blah blah, right on the main road.
Right,
Family
not far
Farm.
from
Right
Sheldon
there on
Mill.
the-
It's on the way to Sheldon. I wouldn't be sure what township it was.
It's in Sheldon, in the
It's
town of
right
Sheldon.
there
It
in
is,
Sheldon,
yeah.
right on the
Yeah.
road. Beautiful
It's
farm.
right near where the MB2 was in Sheldon.
Yeah.
Her brother was on the farm until he died about 7 or 8 years ago.
She's a great teacher, yeah.
So I think we were more fortunate than many students because we did have some of the best teachers that there was in this town. And they figured it was their duty to teach us something. Now, my junior year, I was studying chemistry, I was taking chemistry, I wanted to study it. It was now my senior year. Well, that was the year that Mrs. Pike started teaching again. She was the English teacher. Well, I wanted to spend more time with chemistry, but she thought it was her duty to teach, to attempt to further my education in English. And she did an outstanding job. She was doing what she was hired to do. But I was a great deal more interested in chemistry than I was in English after 12 years. Never did quite master it. And didn't master anything about chemistry because I didn't have time to study it.
Well, listen, I'm noticing that it's about 8:30. And would you like to thank these gentlemen for... Thank you so much for
Thank
spending
you
that time.
For putting this one in. I was ready to jump up and run. I sat here long enough.
Well, that's why I kind of closed you in.
Everybody here has a story to tell, remember that.
I think that's true.
Everybody here has got a story to tell.
Well, I've got 2 or 3 pictures circulating in this room somewhere.
We have refreshments on the back table.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Wow, that was, yes.